morning, grade 9. I hope that you are all doing well today. Today, our lesson is about varied climate and vegetation. These are the objectives of our lesson. We have different kinds of climates and vegetation in Latin America and southern of America. The climate ranges from hot, humid Amazon River basin to the dry and desert-like conditions of northern Mexico and southern Chile. The vegetation varies from rainforests, deserts, and savanna are all in the region. In this region, the climate is varied for several reasons. Because Latin America spans, it's very big, huge, and spacious, and it has great distance on each side of the equator. The big changes in elevation because of the massive mountains. So we have two reasons so far: because it's big space and great span distance, and because of the mountains, and because also of the warm currents and the cold currents of the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean. So there are 4 reasons why the climate varies in Latin America. First of all, because it's span and large and huge, and second of all, the mountains also play a role in changing the climate, and because the warm currents from the Atlantic Ocean and the cold currents from the Pacific Ocean. So these are all the reasons for different kinds of climates in Latin America. As we can see here, this is the map of vegetation of Latin America. So these are the kind of forest and grassland and desert and shrub and the mixed forest and highland we can find in Latin America that we will go through with them all within this lesson. Tropical climate zones. So first we will be discussing and we will get to know the tropical climate zone. What do we mean by tropical climate zone? The tropical climate zones of the region produce both rainforests and tree-dotted grasslands known as the savannas. So this is the vegetation of the climate zone. Rainforests abundant in Central America, the Caribbean, and South America. Savannas are found in South America. So these are the vegetations in the tropical climate zone. What kind of plants and vegetation we can find in a tropical zone? We can find rainforest, and tree-dotted grasslands known as the savannas, rainforest in Central America, and the Caribbean of South America, and savannas we can find them in South America too. So these are the vegetation in the tropical climate zones. Then we will be proceeding with tropical wet climate. Rainforests. They are dense forests made up of different species of trees. So this is the definition, or what we can find in rainforests, or what are they? What is the nature of them? How do they look like? They are dense forests, which means they have like stacked trees over trees over trees, covering trees. They are made of different species of trees. So rainforest doesn't contain the same species of trees and plants. It contains different species of trees that they are very dense. They form a unique ecosystem. Ecosystem, it means how the creatures and the vegetation and the environment all live in one place and cope with each other. The climate in these areas in the rainforest is very hot and rainy all year round. So they don't have summer or spring or fall or winter. The climate over there is hot and rainy all year around. That's why the trees are very dense and different kind of species of trees, because the rain pours all year around. The largest forest is the Amazon rainforest. So the largest forest in of the rainforest is the Amazon rainforest. Much of the rainforest is located in Brazil. So most of the rainforests, their location, or we can find them in Brazil. Rainforests contain many exotic plants and also creatures. So, to conclude this part, rainforest, what is the nature of rainforest? Or whenever we talk or you hear someone talking about rainforest, what we can imagine, or what are they? They are dense forests with different kinds of species of trees, and they form a unique ecosystem. It means a specific unique system and a very special unique system. The climate is hot and rainy all year around, and the largest forests are called Amazon rainforest, which is located in Brazil. Rainforests contain many exotic plants and creatures. Then we proceed with wet and also dry climate. The climate, this kind of climate, we can find it in Southern or South America. Support savanna, which are grassland dotted with trees. So we can find this climate in savannas. What are savannas? They are grass dotted with trees. These areas have hot climates with seasonal rain, which means the rain doesn't pour all year around, only on specific seasons. Savanna is found, you can find savanna in Brazil, Colombia, and also Argentina. So, talking or what is the tropical, wet and dry climate? First of all, we can find this kind of climate in Southern America. And support savannas, which are grasslands. So what we can find this climate also in the savannas, which are huge grasslands dotted with trees. So huge grasslands with specific trees. With trees are inserted inside, but the trees are not connected to each other, or we can find the trees in huge quantities. You can find a tree in different regions from the grassland. That's why they said, or they took the metaphor of dotted with trees, which means we can find a tree in each and specific region. These areas have hot climates with seasonal rain, so the rain doesn't pour all year around, but the climate is hot. That's why we call it tropical, because it is hot all year around. But why did they call it wet and dry? Because the rain is seasonal, not all year around. So proceeding with the savanna, we can find the savanna in Brazil in three regions or three countries: Brazil, Colombia, and Argentina. So we can find the tropical and wet and dry climate in three regions or three countries in Latin America, in Brazil, Colombia, and Argentina. And discussing or reaching the dry climate zones. So you can see the name dry climate zones. We can find them in Mexico, because most of Mexico, or the landform that forms most of Mexico, is desert. That's why we can find the dry climate zone. We can find Mexico in the dry climate zone. We have the semi-arid. This is kind of climate, or a climate number one, or kind of climate that follows the dry climate zones. This climate is dry, with some rain, with vast semi-arid grass-covered plains are often found in such climates. So these are parts in Mexico, the semi-arid and desert. These are two kind of landform we can find in Mexico, which are included or under or within the dry climate zone. So what is this region, or how can we discuss this region? What is the nature of the vegetation and the climate? The climate is generally dry with some rain and vast semi-arid grass. So semi-arid is kind of grass covered plains are often found in such climates. So the vegetation is semi-arid, covered plains, and the climate is generally dry and some rain. And the semi-arid are grass-covered plains. These are the semi-arid. They are grass-covered plains where the climate is dry and with some rain, and the vegetation is semi-arid grass-covered plains. Proceeding with the desert that forms most of Mexico. Part of the northern Mexico is considered as desert and much of the coast of Peru. The Atacama Desert is in the northern Chile. So we can find three regions or three countries that have the desert landform. Northern Mexico, and much or a lot or most of the coast of Peru, and last but not least we have the Atacama Desert, which is located in northern Chile. So there we can find the desert in Latin America in these three regions: Mexico, Peru, and Chile. Mexico in northern Mexico, and Peru we can find the desert in the much of the coast of Peru, and the Atacama Desert in northern Chile. Then we proceed with the mid-latitude climates. What is the nature of this climate that is located in the middle of latitude or mid-latitude? They are in region located south of equator, from Rio de Janeiro in Brazil southward. So it stretches from southern or south of Ecuador, from Rio de Janeiro in Brazil southward. So these are the zones of the mid-latitude in Latin America that have the mid-latitude climate in Latin America. And we can find the humid subtropical climate in these regions. What is the nature of the humid subtropical climate? They have rainy winters and hot, humid summer. So this is the nature of the humid subtropical climate. And we can find these kind of climates in part of Paraguay, Uruguay, southern Brazil, southern Bolivia, are located in the mid-subtropical areas. So the regions that have the humid subtropical climate in Latin America, some parts of Paraguay and Uruguay, southern Brazil, southern Bolivia, and they are all located in this zone or in this humid subtropical climate. And you can see from this picture, this is the vertical climate zones in Latin America, and we can see what kind of animals and vegetation in each zone. We have the Terra Hilda snow line. This is where it snows in Latin America. Here, the lower boundary is snow-covered area, which means it's above the highest peaks of the mountain in Latin America. We can find llamas over there. What kind of animals we can find or can live over there? Llamas. And then we have the Terra Firma tree line. We can find some tree lines. We can see tree lines, elevation above which trees tend to not to grow. So this is the region that we can find trees trees that they are not qualified or they cannot grow in these regions. But we can find cloud forest near mountain peaks with contrast cloud cover. So this is on top of the mountains, but not as top as this one where the snow is placed within the peaks of the mountain. So the lower part of the area we can find the terrapheria. We can find cloud forest over there, and this is the vegetation or kind of plants that live in this place or in this specific region. And then proceeding to a lower part, which is the Tierra Temperada, and we can find the wet forest over there, some huge vast forest that we can see the cotton trees over there. And the lowest part also is the Tierra Caliente, dry forest and swamps, and we can find there the cocoa trees. And then we will proceed with the region of the Mediterranean. The climate over there is hot, dry summers and cool, moist winters. Part of Chile and the west coast are part of this climate. The vegetation is low shrubs and small trees. So the Mediterranean, the nature of this climate is usually, or it's hot, dry summers and cool, moist winters. But what are the countries that has this specific climate in Latin America? Part of Chile, and the west coast. And the nature of the vegetation is known, or we can see low shrubs and small trees. So we have low, small, little shrubs and trees. You can never find over there huge, large trees. Only low, little shrubs and small trees. And then proceeding with the region of marine west coast in Latin America. How is the nature of the climate? It's cool with rainy winter and mild rainy summers. So mild, it means it's not too hot and not too cold. Parts of southern Chile, we can find this kind of climate in Chile, southern Chile, and Argentina have this climate. And the vegetation in the marine west coast forests are typical vegetation, so we can find forests over there, or the vegetation in the marine west coast forests. And which countries that are in the zone of the marine west coast climate? Southern Chile and Argentina. And what is the marine west coast climate? What is it like? It's cool and rainy during winters and mild rainy in summers. Then we'll proceed with the highlands, which are mostly the mountains. They vary. The climate is varied, is not the same from one highland to another. It's moderate, it's not too cold, not too hot, but it's moderate, too cold depending in elevation. Other factors affect climates over there in the highlands: sunlight, wind, and landscape. What is the nature of the landscape? Either it's high or low, lots of tree, small shrubs, no tree, grasslands. So all of these factors are changing or have an effect on the climate of the highlands. This climate, we can find this climate, or which countries have this climate in Latin America: Mexico and South America. Then we will conclude our lesson for today. Please, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to email me in any time or at any time. Stay safe. Have a nice day.